What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Johnny. Back in here with one more reaction video, ladies and gentlemen. And today we got a lecture from my guy, Eric Butterworth. This is some very valuable information. I think this is one of those videos that you'll be able to watch for the next 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 years. And it'll be able to resonate with you in some way, some shape, some form. If this is your first time pulling up to the channel, welcome. As I like to say, we are simply spirits encased in human flesh. Just trying to figure out this thing called life. Not nearly as divided or demonic as the mainstream media is trying to make it seem every single day. And I definitely think that the world is hurting right now. And if hurt people can hurt people, then I really think that healed people can heal people. So let's check out the healing of hurt.
This morning we're going to deal with some things that, quite frankly, could be very painful, but which I trust will also be self-revealing. Perhaps there's a kind of a risk involved, the willingness to deal with these things, to grow through the experience. The mere suggestion of the word hurt may jog the memory in a resensing of pain and reopening of wounds. Hurt and its pain are a very important part of the human experience and a byproduct of human relationships. And since life is set in the framework of human relations, there are countless opportunities of feeling hurt, if we're so inclined. And that last phrase may be startling, if you're so inclined. In other words, it is important to face the fact that we always have a choice. And no matter what a person does or leaves undone, you do not have to give him the power to decide how you're going to feel or think. Quite often a person will say, I don't have to take that from anybody. You've heard those words. But the fact is, when he says that in that tone, he is taking it. He's taking it into his consciousness. He's holding on to it. He's making something very deep about it within himself. We might rephrase it or restate it with a different tone. I don't have to take that. And you don't. You don't have to take the hurt. You don't have to react. You don't have to say that this is something that is hurting me inside. It only hurts you if you're in that consciousness. It's an interesting thing that we normally experience hurt or emotional pain in an involvement with our family, in a social small circle of friends. Rarely are we hurt by someone we do not know. Have you ever thought about that? For instance, someone in a crowd may call toward you and say, you're a wimp. You'll probably laugh, or at most being a little nettled or a little disturbed about it. But rarely will you be hurt. But if your brother or your spouse calls you a wimp, you may feel deep hurt. This is strange. The reason may be that in a close relationship, there is a vulnerability of intimate knowledge of one another, bringing into sharp question whether we really know ourselves. We may feel very insecure as a person, needing a constant reassurance of love and respect from those around us who we love and from whom we expect love.
And I can say, from my childhood, you do need the reassurance of your mom and your dad. Because this world is all over the place, and it doesn't want you to have confidence. It does not want you to believe in yourself. So if you don't grow up in a stable home where you have a mother and father that really believe in you and really support you and make you feel like you can stand on your own 2 feet in this world, then it's easy to be hurt. I've said time and time again, the highest privilege that a child can have is a loving mother and father that cares about them. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what type of school you get to go to, what environment you come from. If you're in a broken home and that home has a lot of negative energy in it, then you're going to be another broken individual walking around this world. But you could be someone like myself who, I didn't grow up materially rich, but spiritually I grew up extremely wealthy with mom and dad. Homeless shelter, Section 8, no lights, no gas, no water, whatever it was. We had love, we had each other. And that's what's missing in this world. Families need love now more than ever.
We may be extremely susceptible to disappointment and dashed expectations from these people. This is true in its greatest degree in cases of psychological and even physical battering or child abuse. Unfortunately, human consciousness acting as it does, for most persons there's a subconscious accumulation of the memory of incidences causing hurt, leaving scars and even festering open wounds of rage and unforgiveness, and with frustrations that block the divine creative flow. Now, in truth, we're coming to realize that we cannot maintain what I like to call a storehouse of hurt and enjoy either health or happiness. Medical research is proving almost conclusively that most, if not all, physical ills are emotionally induced. For instance, arthritis has been called bottled hurt.
Okay.
Robert Burns talks about the good wife Kate at home nursing her wrath to keep it warm. And you can be Kate suffered from high blood pressure, rheumatism, and various and sundry complaints.
Another book that mentions this exact same thing is Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. I recommend everybody read that book as well. It says that all disease comes from the mind.
Because the one goes hand in hand with the other. The word resentment comes from the root words meaning to re-sense, to re-sense. It is a constant re-sensing of the experience. We nurse it and keep it warm, re-sense it over and over again. It could be said that like the good wife Kate, most persons have a mental device similar to a string of rosary beads. And as in the ritual of prayer, we go over and over the scars and wounds of hurt, counting them one by one. In time, they lose control and become controlled by the ravaging effects of the pain. It could be said that one's whole personality in the course of his life may be shaped in the image of his hurt. This is tragic, but oh, so common.
How many people do you know like that? To where they went to a really, really hard, traumatic event and it changed them forever, where they never recovered. You know, a lot of people assumed that when my mother passed away that I wouldn't recover because I was such a mama's boy, that they was like, oh, Johnny done. But I've learned that everything in life has some type of positive effect in it. When my first child passed away, when my second child passed away, in the moment, I can't say I learned anything. But sitting here in retrospect, that gave me the push to understand life is real. That the flower that created me is already left. And a couple flowers that I've already created, they are no longer here. So this thing is real. And you have to value it while the time you're here. So learn to have fun, learn to laugh, learn to smile. Because the only thing that is consistent in life is change.
I want to invite you to join with me in a little experience, an imaging experience. In mind, now in imagination, I'm distributing to you some slips of paper or perhaps a notebook and pen, pencil.
If you're sitting there, I hope you got you a notebook, got you a pen with you. Write these ideas down, write these thoughts down.
I want you again in your imagination to think about the most important hurt that is disturbing you. It's festering within you, or perhaps several of them. I'd like you to just imagine now that you're writing a paragraph about this.
Write down all the
Maybe something you've never shared with anyone in the world.
Go ahead.
Perhaps you've even been unwilling to face it yourself. So in your mind now, you might want to close your eyes as you do this. Just imagine you're writing down on this book a paragraph explaining this hurt as best as you can explain it. Not defending it, but just saying what it is. And perhaps if you want to, you can maybe do 2 or 3 of them, or perhaps just make a list of them.
Just get all of it out.
Now let's just imagine that we're taking about 15 minutes for this. I won't take 15 minutes. We'll just take a few minutes to kind of get the feel of it. Just imagine this is going to be a 15-minute period and you're writing these paragraphs about your hurts. Just think about it for a while.
And if you need to pause this video and take 15, 20 minutes, an hour to write down everything that's hurting you, everything that's troubling you, go ahead, man. This is a healing session, right? And we're here for you. Write it down. Get all that hurt out, man. Everything that's troubling you, everything that's bothering you, every negative thought, every worry.
All right, now that's the symbol of a period when we've taken to write these down. You can open your eyes now. Just in a sense, you have this paper or this notebook in your hand. And let these things that you've written symbolize the festering hurts that have been so much with you for so long a period of time. Now suppose I come and stand before you personally, right face to you and looking you in the eye. And I say to you, give me the paper, and you'll be free forever from the pain of this hurt and from its influence in your life. Now think carefully about this. Because as you give me the paper, you're going to give up all entitlement to your self-pity. You're going to give up all the insistence that what he did or what she said has had such a harmful effect on your life. All that'll be over with now. You're going to give it all over. Now, are you willing to give it to me? Are you willing to be free from that hurt? If you think about this for a while, you may be surprised to find, if you're honest with yourself, that at least you're not spontaneously eager to let it go. Why do you suppose this is? It is because your emotional pain is what I call substitutionary fulfillment. It's important to see this.
And this is the reason we live in a victimhood culture. Most individuals don't want to be victims. However, holding on to that pain is a replacement of not having what they want. And in order to move forward in life, you have to, once again, let go of the past and embrace the future. But if you're holding on to what hurt you or what traumatized you or wasn't right or what made you feel safe, then you can never, ever fully embrace the abundance that God has in store for you. You have to release to receive.
Someone may do or say something against you that is disturbing, and if you realize that there's little or nothing you can do about it, which is normally the case, you may turn to self-pity as an alternative. You may be deeply hurt,
Poor me.
and you may feel with good reason. You may say, of course I'm hurt. Look what he did to me. So now, are you willing to let this go? To give up the whole experience, the memory of it, the pain, the self-pity? Something within you may be crying out at this point. No, don't take my hurt away from me. It's mine. I have a right to something. If I can't have things as I want them, at least let me have this substitute. This is all very subtle.
Is that not the world we live in right now, or what? That's why I say we have a bunch of broken adults walking around. It's extremely unfortunate. And in a time where it seems like life is falling apart, man, we got to learn to give love now more than ever.
But it's real. If you think about it, it's real. Because whether you know it or not, you've been holding on to these hurts because you won't let them go. They're a substitute for the thing that you feel you were hurt by. In the exterior orientation of life, it is...
And I can even mention my mom in that, right? When my mom was 14 years old, she had got pregnant. And my grandmother made her give that baby up for adoption. So every year, when it was his birthday, my mom would just be crying and crying. And I was a kid, so I didn't really understand why she was so emotionally traumatized about that. And it caused her to have really, really bad depression. And she overdosed on opioids in 2015. And at the time, I never tied her health together or her mood together. I mean, she was my mama, so as a kid, I didn't have that level of consciousness yet. But now, to sit here and know that hurt that she held on to while she was also raising me and raising my brother and dealing with the relationships of my father and then the society that we live in, it makes sense on why her life ended the way it did. And I wish I could have showed some content like this to my mama and say, Mama, I get you went through it. I get it was hard, but let it go. And so if you happen to be watching this video and you got somebody in your family that's holding on to some trauma or whatever it is, man, encourage them to let it go. Divorce yourself from your past and embrace the beautiful, beautiful, abundant future that God has in store for you.
It's common to feel that your life is constantly shaped by what happens around you and to you. You may believe that something unexpected invariably comes up in your relationships with others. Wouldn't you know it? It always happens. I'm always getting disturbed at this, always getting hurt. Something personally hurtful. But the truth is, the unexpected are traps that you have previously set for yourself. So because of your poor self-image, your feelings of inadequacy, your feelings of paranoia, you are hurtable. And so you're hurt.
Become what you think about.
But you're really caught in your own trap. Someone has said that a strong feeling of hurt over something someone has done to you is a kind of temporary insanity. That's strong words. According to the standard psychological evaluation, you're insane whenever you're not in control of your behavior.
Ooh.
But haven't you said, I just can't help feeling hurt after what he did to me?
Got him.
No control. Revealing, isn't it?
Now the question is, why should someone else be able to control you with words? Why should the media be able to control you? Why should TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, why should any of these things, external things, have any control over the inside of you? Something to ponder on.
Much of the interpersonal and intercultural confusion in the world today may be attributed to this temporary insanity, where individuals and groups, sometimes whole nations, lose control of their behavior.
Where are we at right now in America?
I recall the experience of that great black statesman, Bayard Rustin. While riding in an elevator in Spokane, Washington, he was suddenly ordered by a white man to lace up his shoes. There was tension among the people there. But Rustin, without thinking, didn't object. He cheerfully stooped down and laced the man's shoes. The man handed him a tip. And Rustin refused, saying, I didn't do it for money. I assumed you really needed help. And the man was terribly embarrassed. Then he was apologetic. But to his credit, he invited Bayard Rustin to his room, where they talked for hours about how to erase the aberration of prejudice from human consciousness. You might say, well, that's Bayard Rustin. I couldn't act like that. It's not easy, for certain. But as students of truth, we need to honestly face up to this tendency both to be hurt and to cause hurt in such situations. In both cases, there is a poor self-image, even self-contempt, a lack of true self-love.
How do you view yourself? When you look in the mirror truthfully, do you love yourself or are you proud of yourself? When you standing in front of your bathroom mirror, completely naked, are you proud of what you see? Are you happy with yourself? Can you say, I love myself? And if not, then I encourage you to work on that, because you have to love you more than anything in this world. Because when God made you, God made you perfect. Everything that you need to be successful was inside of you when you came out of mama. But you have to look in yourself and find that gift that God placed inside of you. And once you find it, you give it to the world, and life changes forever.
No, it's not easy to react in such a completely selfless and non-resistant manner. But the important thing is, you don't have to take that. You don't have to take it. Give way to love. Turn on more light.
Turn on more light.
One of the most common defenses that we offer as excuses as to why we're so easily hurt or upset is, well, you don't understand. It's just the way I am. I've always been emotional.
How many people y'all heard say that? This is just who I am. This is just how I act. I just talk this loud. I'm just this rude. No. All of us have the power to grow, to change, to evolve.
But this is not true. It is not the way you are. Because innately you're a spiritual being with the potential to be poised and centered in the Christ mind, so that nothing can disturb the calm peace of your soul.
Nothing. Spirit
You are not
peace.
your emotions. You are a person with a built-in conduit through which emotions flow.
You are not your emotions.
You're not emotion. You have emotions.
You have emotions.
With the power to manage them and rightly direct them toward the positive reinforcing of what you're about.
And understand your emotions just like anything else. You just don't start off super strong. You got to build up when you start lifting weights. If you were going running and jogging, you build up your pace. It's the same thing with emotional control. But if you never start the process to develop emotional control, then you're still always in your infant state, and the world wants to take advantage of that.
A person may sometimes fail to manage his emotions, and we call him emotionally immature. But this is not just the way he is, like being brown-eyed and dimple-faced. He can grow and change. And as Paul says, it's not yet manifest what you should be. No matter what has occurred, you are not hurt. You're you.
You are you.
You're not hurt. Standing here with a sign on you, I'm hurt. This is my name. You're you. You're a person experiencing hurt feelings. But if you identify as hurt, and there's nothing you can do about it, because that's the way I am. That's me. I'm hurt. But if you identify as a person experiencing feelings of hurt, then you can choose not to experience the hurt. That's very subtle.
Mm-hmm. So why does
It's so
this bother
important
me?
to think
Why does
about
it
that.
hurt me? Why does it offend me? Why am I taking
And
this
you may
person?
want to get back to the deep wounds of hurt. You may want to talk some more about them. You may want to justify it. You may want to say, but why did she or he do that to me? I don't want to minimize or make light of something that may be a deep, painful memory within you, some horrendous experience. But right now, you can't change it. It's done. It's happened. It's over. It has come to pass. But it is your memory of it that is enduring. So the question is to ask yourself, not why did he do it to you, but why am I upset right now about it? Why am I still hurting over it? No one has the power to upset you or to hurt you emotionally.
No one has the power to upset
But anyone can provide you with an excellent opportunity to be hurt if you're hurtable. In other words, you're vulnerable to emotional pain because you do not really know who you are. Because you say, I'm hurt, but you're not hurt, you're you. And the person you are deep within yourself is invulnerable to hurt, if you can identify with that inner self.
Spirit is perfect.
Now you may feel inadequate as a worker, so the boss's remarks cut you to the quick. You may feel insecure in your role as a parent or a spouse or an offspring. So you suffer from feelings of paranoia over what they are always doing to you. They always do it. Why do they always do that to me? Your healing begins when you realize that no matter what has happened, no matter how deep and grievous this really is, the incident is external. The reaction is your own. And you take a giant stride toward wholeness when you remove the to me.
That was the best thing that ever happened in my life when I learned to take nothing personal. Everything that is happening in this world is external. It does not have to enter the conscious nor the subconscious mind.
Why does the boss always give the extra work to me? The to me is the barb that hangs you up. He didn't do it to you. He did it, evidencing where he is in consciousness. But how you receive it is an evidence of where you are in consciousness. As a matter of fact, the boss may have handed that extra work to you and may do it all the time because he respects you. Because he's tabbing you for a promotion, because he thinks you're the only one that he can trust it to. But what happens in your consciousness, where you are, how you receive it? So it is important, vitally important, to develop.
Everything in life is a perception of how you view it. So I can walk around and say life is ugly, life is terrible, it's just getting worse and worse, there's no hope for the future. Or I can walk around and say, man, this thing is, it may not be moving at the speed I want it to, but it's definitely getting better. It's definitely progressing. One by one, we waking up. One by one, we're evolving. We're all Pokemon in this thing. You got the Magnacarp to the Gyarados. You got some Pikachus that want to stay Pikachus forever. You got some of them that can't wait to evolve and to write you. And then you got the Snorlaxes who just want to lay there and sleep. Who are you?
Develop the knack of keeping dispassionate and objective, so that when someone affronts you in any way, you can say to yourself, I wonder what is disturbing him. There was not why did he do it to me, but why did he do it? What in his consciousness is causing this? In the spirit of love, you can know it's really his problem. I must not let it become my problem by reacting personally. And if you keep your poise throughout, you'll be in a position to help the other person who actually may be striking out because of his own inner hurting.
Don't take the problems of this world personal. I promise. Don't let them affect you. Don't let it get into your conscious mind.
There's a likelihood that much of our hurt comes from a tendency to expect too much of someone. Our security so often is based, more than we know, on having the world just sort of stay where it is. You want your wife to be there, your husband, your child, your friends, the boss. You want them to be there in their normal, natural place. You want them to be constant, doing their thing in a stable sense. It's a kind of infantile narcissism.
The only thing that's constant.
Remember, Narcissus was a beautiful youth who delighted in looking at himself in the quiet reflection of a pool. And he was always upset and hurt by anything or anyone who troubled the glassy surface of the pool. So narcissism means that you resent anything that frustrates you. And it's an infantile reaction. Watch a little child as he crawls around on the floor. He stands up under the table and bangs his head. He turns around, he slaps the table. Bad, bad, bad. The table bumped me. Why did the table do that to me? It's an infantile feeling. Everything you want to be just right. And if it is not, you think as it ought to be, it calls for an emotional outburst or an inner feeling of corrosive hurt.
And it doesn't help that our media pushes that narrative as well, that that's how you should respond to something that doesn't go your way, that that's how you should behave. We have to mature with the way we teach the youth to handle agreements and disagreements. But right now we got the blind leading the blind. You would never hear anything this intellectual in a school in today's society. But through YouTube, through reaching out to individuals one by one, we will continue to raise the human consciousness and evolve into a period of pure love.
Now, this is not to say that we should expect errant behavior in other people, but only to say that we should not be dependent on what the other person does. And so often we are. Our peace of mind, our stability in the day is dependent upon people being in the right place, saying the right things, the bus coming on time, the taxi driver pulling over to the curb instead of turning on the off-duty line sight and going right by you. Our stability and our peace of mind and our sense of success in a day depends on what they do out there. But so often, it's helpful to take an affirmation such as this one a teacher gave me once. Father, forgive me for expecting in the human that which is found only in the divine.
Ooh.
We tend to expect people to be just right, to say just the right things. We're very demanding of other people, yet very easy on ourselves.
We expect way too much from other humans.
It's important to be easy on other people
human.
and demanding of ourselves. Father, forgive me for expecting in the human that which is found only in the divine.
And that's why I say, man, we just spirits encased in human flesh trying to figure out this thing called life. I can't put my expectations on you. You're just trying to do the best you can do. How is that fair? So everyone should definitely say that out loud. Father, forgive me for expecting in other humans which you can only find in the divine.
Fine. The hurts that you carry in your mind are retained in your memory. Have you ever said, I wish I had a good memory? We've all said that sometime because we have a hard time remembering names or dates or things, items on a list. There's no such thing as a poor memory. Have you ever thought about that?
At all.
The inability to remember is not something that is lacking in your equipment. It is that you're remembering too much of the wrong things.
Look here, look here. Look here, look here, look here.
That's why I say an important key to good memory is developing a good forgettery.
And I can say for myself, growing up in an environment full of trauma, I used to look back and only see the negative memories. I couldn't see anything positive from my environment, from my mom, my dad, my school system, everything I thought was negative because I was accepting it through the victimhood narrative of the world. But once I stepped away from the matrix and turned that off and start looking at life through my individual eyes and my perspective and look back, I had a lot of good times. I had a lot of good memories. I had a lot of things to be happy about, to be positive about. And once you start that state of gratitude, it keeps continuing to grow and grow and grow. So I challenge you to look at your life, and yes, you may have went through some ugly things, but look back, and I'm sure in the middle of every ugly situation, there was some positivity, because in the middle of every single storm, there is some calmness, there is some still, there is a lesson, there is wisdom.
A woman was enrolling in a memory training course. In the hall before the first session, she was telling a friend how upset she was over a fight that she had had with another friend. She was going over all the details of it and so forth, and she did this, and she said that, isn't that terrible, I'm so hurt. Her friend said, why don't you forget all that? The woman said with blazing eyes, I don't intend to forget that ever after the hurt she did to me. And mind, she was enrolling in a course in good memory.
Why do humans want to hold on to the negatives over the positives?
Here was a woman taking a memory course whose memory was already chronically sharp. She kept retelling her hurts, the real or imagined slights, and she remembered them so strongly that with each telling, the sense of hurt became greater and greater and greater. Her need was to develop a good forgettery, to let it go. So the best way to sharpen the memory is to concentrate on getting rid of the clutter in our memory mind, our storehouse of hurts, and form the habit of letting things go that are excess baggage.
Let go of the negatives, hold on to the positives.
Paul gives us an effective key in his letter to the Ephesians. This is something that I've long remembered, and it's been a great inspiration to me. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. It's a simple statement. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. In the course of a day, it's so easy to indulge in negative states, because as I freely admit, it would take the patience of a saint to keep a perpetually poised attitude all through the day. We get upset. We retain slights and hurts. We all do, let's face it. But when you retire at night, Paul says, Empty your mind of these unwanted things, even as you may empty your pockets and as you lay your clothes aside. Tell yourself as you go through these things that have happened to you during the day, some slight, something that someone has said, something someone failed to do that you think they should have done, I don't have to take that.
Nope.
I don't have to take it. I don't have to take it with me in consciousness. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. Lay it aside.
No negativity allowed.
You don't have to take it. You don't have to keep it. Let it go. Don't go to sleep on it. It has come to pass. You might affirm something like, I don't resist or resent. I bless every person, knowing they know not what they did. I forgive them and give way to love.
Just trying to figure out life.
Other than that is you're going to be the one that's going to be hurt. The other person goes off scot-free, and that hurts you even more. Let it go. You can't retain it and have your peace of mind or your health of body either. It's one or the other. Remember, Jesus emphatically said, love your enemies and pray for those who despitefully use you, that you may be sons of your Father. Love your enemies. That's hard. Pray for those who despitefully use you. Pray for the people who have given you hurt. But you see, he's saying that you may be sons, that you may be in tune with the divine flow. The moment you hold on to these negative things, and you break the flow, and you're in trouble. But it's of your own doing.
Because if you would agree that your source to infinite intelligence is your consciousness and your subconscious, then when you're taking time sitting being angry or dwelling over someone else, how are you focusing on yourself? How are you connected to your creator on what you could be doing to advance life? There's so many small distractions that we allow into our mind of trying to get back at other humans or trying to prove a point to other humans, and we have to accept, and we're all just people trying to do the best we can. A lot of the hurts that you feel, they wasn't intentionally to hurt you. They're just the other person made a mistake. And we lack the ability to have meaningful conversations in today's society. We lack intellectual dialogue. And so a lot of people are walking around with internal trauma. So if you get nothing else from this video, is remove your expectations of other humans and set greater expectations on yourself to control your emotions, to control your thoughts, and control your responses to this thing called life.
Remember the impetuous Peter once cried out, but Master, how oft shall we forgive? Until 7 times? Jesus said very calmly, I say unto you, until 70 times 7. In other words, eternally, constantly. In other words, Peter is saying, but you can't go on forgiving people. How much can a person take? That's just it. How much do you want to take? Jesus is saying, if you want light in the room, you have to turn on the switch.
Ooh.
If you refuse, you're going to sit in the darkness, and it's of your own choosing. How much do you want to take?
Every single one of us. Turn that light on if you want
The power
to.
that goes with our divine potential is only ours when we act the part.
And that's why I say every single one of us has a gift from God. But it's up to you to turn that power on and start shining that light. We could all sit in the darkness forever. Or you could step up and say, I'm going to be the change. Because all it takes is one individual to start the process. But once again, step into your divine light. No matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, you have the power to affect this video game of life. Use the gift that God placed inside of you and watch the many, many abundant ways that God looks out for you.
That's why Paul says, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. If you keep in tune, then you're free. But you're only a spiritual being, a child of God. You let it flow through your fingertips and into your every action. Turn on the light. Let go of bitterness and hurt. Forgive and forget. Not so much because the other person deserves it. We so often say, he doesn't deserve my love, my forgiveness. Perhaps he doesn't. But don't you deserve it?
Why do you want to walk around with resentment?
In other words, you express forgiveness not for his sake.
You.
That's a byproduct, but for your sake, because you need to give way and get into the giving for consciousness.
Why do you need any anger or resentment inside of you? Don't you want to just be free-flowing in love and pure spirit and pure happiness and pure gratitude? If you got a water hose and you put a little crank in there, then the water ain't coming out the way it should. You get a little drip here and there. But straighten that thing out. Straighten your emotions out. Get right with your creator. And man, you are beautiful. You are special. You are talented. You can do anything. Step away from the negativity of this world and be the child that God created you to be.
Let the divine flow manifest through you. You need the healing unity, and only right thinking can bring it. It's so important to check up occasionally on what you're thinking, how you're feeling, Run things through what I call an imaginary positive detector. If a thought or feeling is unsatisfactory and harmful to yourself or another,
Discard it.
if it isn't in accord with your good, if it isn't true of God,
Throw it away.
then forget it. Let it go. You can't afford to keep it. There's another kind of hurt that is rarely considered in this context. Someone near and dear to you may have passed on, and you're in a turmoil of emotions over it. This is understandable. You may be looking back in grief and sadness, remembering other times of companionship and love, or perhaps also remembering with feelings of guilt that this is how it should have been.
And this is why I say you got to treat people with love. Because when my mom passed away, my little brother had a lot of guilt. Actually, still has guilt to this day from how he ignored her and wouldn't answer her calls and just didn't treat her the best. My father had a lot of guilt from the type of relationship that him and my mother had and how he know he could have treated he better. But I, honest to God, had zero guilt when she passed away. Because I was a perfect, loving son and did everything that she needed. Not because I was looking for something in return, but I just really loved my mom. So when I lost her, the twisted part about it is God opened up this new door where I was able to focus on myself more and figured out who I was. And even with my children that I've lost, I don't have any type of resentment towards losing them because the lesson is learned. And once you learn the lesson, it's like that's when this big door opens and you see this bright white light and you just walk through it. And it's nothing but pure bliss of abundance. But until you make the conscious unconscious, you'll repeat it over and over and over and over. And you'll say, man, this is just supposed to be my life. No, you're supposed to accept it, learn from it, and let it go.
And a very subtle point is that grief is to a large extent hurt. You are hurt that this person on whose love you depended has gone off and left you.
Mama.
You have the fear and the resentment and the deep hurt of abandonment. So you need to forgive this person that's passed on. Forgive him, loose him, let him go. You'll find that if you go through this process of forgiveness, most of the grief will fade away. The relationship has come to pass. It brought you just the experiences that you need, and it will continue to bless you with growth if you can let it go.
Extremely true.
And walk on.
I love my mama now more than I did when she
Remember,
was
the great
alive.
need is to know who and what you are. Within you, at the level of your oneness with God, there's that in you in which you can never be hurt. You can never know pain if you identify with this greater self of you. And here there's a veritable dynamo of love. It could be said that all the love in the universe is centered at this still point in the turning world within you. And if you can keep consciously centered in this awareness, you will easily let go of anything that is hurtful.
So centered in love, centered in gratitude.
No matter than in human consciousness, you may wonder if that person who did that terrible thing to you and caused you so much pain, he's now reaping the reward of suffering. Just to even entertain such a thought is to hold on to your own pain. There's no way that you can let go of this pain unless you let it all go, totally, completely, everything related to it. As we're told, what is that to thee? Follow thou me.
Ooh.
And be willing to believe, to paraphrase the words of Joseph, that though someone did something to you with intent to hurt or harm, both physically and emotionally, God intended it for good.
Man.
To accept it as good and face forward and walk on, and you'll be blessed by it.
If God is with us, who could be
Give up
against
your
us?
hurts. Give up the festering pain within you that now you realize is really self-directed, self-imposed.
Every negative
And give way
weapon,
to love.
God turned to good.
Are you willing to let it go? I'm sure that all of us have
Are you
thought
willing
of
to let it
something
go?
during this time we were disturbed about or hurt over. Are you really willing to let it go? Let's follow our exercise. Let's close our eyes. And again, in your imaging mind, let's say that you have this page or this notebook full of paragraphs
Get your paper.
over hurt things, no matter what they are. Hold this in your hand again for a moment. For a moment, go through the process of thinking about them and asking yourself, am I really willing to let it go?
Are you really ready to let go of
To
everything
give up
that
the
hurts you?
claim on self-pity and the fact that this person did something terrible to me that's
To let go of that victimhood mindset and take supreme accountability for your life from here on out. That nothing can hurt you, nothing can bother you, but you have to be willing to let it go. Are you willing?
ruined my life. Are you willing to let all that go? Are you willing to be free? And what I'm going to do again is to just paint an imaginary picture. Here in this auditorium, we're all in a circle. In the center of the circle is a great urn, and there's a fire burning in the urn. I want you to face yourself again. Ask yourself, are you really willing to let it go?
All your hurts, all your trauma, all your pain.
Let this spirit well up in within you that says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I want you, at your own direction, whenever you feel so led, walk up to this urn in the center. Just drop the sheet or the notebook in. Drop it in and let it go. Stand there for a moment.
Ball your paper up, throw it in the trash.
Watch the fire.
Rip it up.
Purifying fire. Consume it.
And laugh, smile, cry, whatever you got to do to let those
Watch this
emotions
fire
out. Get them away from your body.
One by one, we walk up and drop our hurts.
Embrace the love inside of you.
In paragraphs.
Embrace the love God has
in the
for you.
urn. The fire becomes greater and greater. Pretty soon there's a tremendous blaze, symbolizing the tremendous freeing,
hope you feel free.
Unburdening, releasing.
Let that anger go. Let that resentment go. Let that sadness go. Whatever it is, let it go.
As we let go of our hurts.
Embrace love. Embrace positivity. Embrace health.
And let's all stand back and just watch this fire for a while. See it as a great light. A light,
stand in front
the
of the
light
mirror.
of our life.
Because I love myself. I'm proud of myself.
Remember
I'm
those
ready to
great
embrace
words
my
of
light.
Isaiah.
I'm ready to embrace my
Then
future.
shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily. Let's dwell on this for a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
See how good it feels, how clean we feel inside, how refreshed, how free, now that the hurt is gone.
Yes, sir. Put your hand on the stove. It's not that hot. Let the internal hurt go. Let the pain go.
If for any reason we found it difficult to let go of certain hurts, unwillingness to release the person after what he did or what she did or said or didn't do or didn't say.
Release all of it. Move in love.
Just tell yourself, you're going to rethink this when you get home today. Go through the exercise again and again and again, and keep on till you're willing to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to go home somewhere and have a little cry first.
Get it
That's
out.
all right.
Go ahead.
Perhaps that's healthy. Then let it go and release it.
Men, women, children, grandmothers, grandfathers, aunties,
life for many of
uncles.
us can begin on an entirely new level.
Go heal, man. Go heal.
You can begin to experience a whole new dimension of awareness. And we let go of our hurts. Stand up in the consciousness. I'm poised and centered in the Christ mind, and nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul.
Nothing. Spirit's always at peace.
So let's just rejoice in those words. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Man, look here. That was one of them cookers. That was one of them cookers. And that's a video, man, you may need to go back and listen to 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 times, because I wanted to really seep into your subconscious mind. I didn't evolve my thinking this way in a day, in a week, or in a month. This has been a continuous process over removing myself from the toxicity I was born into and wanting to evolve and gain more knowledge. And if the swimming pool is dirty, when they cleaning the pool out, it ain't done like that. It takes some time. You can't even see the effects for a while. But that's your consciousness. You can change, you can grow, you can evolve. You can let go of the hurt and the pain and the resentment. What you're going through right now, in 5 years, you could be living a totally different life. Just keep going. As Les Brown says, if you fall down, at least try to fall on your back, because if you could look up, you can get up. And I keep saying that our world wants you over-medicated and under-educated. It wants you sad, broken, anxiety, not believing in yourself, not loving yourself, questioning the way God made you, not having a strong family, not having a support system. And we need family now more than ever. Everything that really matters in life is given to you free. Mom, dad, brother, sister, the ability to hug, the ability to laugh, the ability to cry. But these material things, cars, clothes, trips, BBLs, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, that won't matter on your deathbed. I promise it won't. So let's use this time now to raise human consciousness, because we can complain about the world, but we are the world. So let's put out some different energy. Let's just get some people to thinking. And I can't say that this video will spark the brain, but it'll definitely spark the brain that sparks the brain that sparks the brain. And as I said, this is content that will be around for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 100 years plus. That if hurt people can walk around hurting people on a daily basis, then once those same people become healed, then they walk around and they're now our healers. And once we create a society full of healers, we no longer have all of this madness on earth. God wins in the end. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Really grateful for everybody sitting with me watching this amazing thing. Be the change you wish to see in this world. Never, ever, 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 ever be too proud to pray. Until next time, we out. Peace.